Presenting Channeling Erik's Hour of Enlightenment.
Hello, everyone. I am so honored to have my dear friend Sara Kujuwa with her son in spirit, Adam, who's cut from the same cloth as Erik. And I love them both. And, of course, we have our awesome host, Michelle Gray, as well. We're going to talk about a very timely subject. Hi. And hi, Erik. And hi Adam.
Hello, hello.
Yes, Erik saying, hi, Mom, love you, we're here.
Very, very important subject around the holidays, as it always is, and that's about how to handle the holidays when you have loss. And so many of us do. So, Sara, Adam, would you like to take over? And see and just see if Erik won't butt in a time or two?
Sure, we'll start out. So, yeah, you know he will.
Yeah.
So to any of the listeners now who are going through any difficult time, my heart goes out to you. Just to know that Michelle and Elisa and I, we have been through a lot of this, and so we're a little bit seasoned, so we can help with advice and to give you a little bit of clarity and understanding that there is more to life than what we see from our physical eyes, and the grief that we feel during the holidays. I mean, even with the holidays approaching, usually for me, like it starts at Halloween, and I know it does even earlier, part for Lisa. It starts even, the anticipation of it, the anxiety of it all kind of creeps up. And it is just part of recognizing and feeling our emotions, not numbing them. And for me, it was a lot of undoing a lot of my belief systems and how I was raised. My son suddenly passed in January of 2014, so it put me on a spiral of learning how to communicate with my son. And thanks to Elisa and the work that she was doing with Erik, I was led to her work, and it reinforced and say, well, if she can do it, and those that she works with can do it, I can do it. So therefore,
we all can do it. Anyone can do it. No, that's true. That's true, because I am quite a dense monkey mind. So yes.
Yeah, and this is a journey of. I see that this was my life path. I didn't see that before he passed, but I had those, speed bumps all along in my life. I just didn't recognize them because I was closed off or asleep, whatever terminology you want to use. So this put me on a path of wanting to communicate. And, of course, holidays are huge in my family, always have been. And I'd like to continue the traditions that my parents, who passed before Adam. And then so with my son passing, I didn't know if I could even bear to go through the holidays. And I told my family I didn't know if I could make it through the holidays because they were such an important time that I had never, even my son was 28, but I had never missed a Christmas with him because I knew how important it was for me. Like my soul kind of knew. I remember even the last two Christmases where he was working out of town and he didn't know if he would be able to get in town in time for Christmas. Both times it were like a last-minute flight to get home. And I remember telling my husband that those last two Christmases saying, well, then we're going to meet him. We're going to go, we'll drive to Oklahoma or we'll drive, to Louisiana and we're going to meet him. And both times he was able to make the flight home. And so I knew on a soul level that it was very important for me. So I know there's a lot of aching hearts and out there who are listening and will be listening on the recorded part, that, grief brings up everything. It brings up, it's like compounded of all those would have, should have, could have, of not just the recent loss, everything in your life. And so just to be kind and gentle with yourself and learning to undo some certain beliefs regarding the afterlife, life after life, and understanding that we are so much more than our body. And there is so much evidence out there, but it's really still a personal journey. It still is something that you need to get knocked upside the head several times before you get it.
Oh, God,
because it's our old beliefs are so ingrained in us and have been passed down generations by society and for family. and our
Absolutely.
cultural, teaching. So, so with me, I knew there was more to life. I knew there was more than my Catholic upbringing, and I didn't fear it. I didn't understand it. I didn't fear it, meaning I wasn't scared of learning and communicating, but I was scared of that. I think it was similar with you, Elisa. I was afraid that it was going to go away.
I know.
That I was going to connect with them, and then he was going to go away again. Because so many people that I knew told me that. Oh, he's just going to be hanging out for a while, and then he'll move on. Like, what is that? So,
fair.
Yeah. So it took a lot of strengthening my own self-doubts and worries and facing it and digging in. And with the holidays, that brought up so much for me to really focus on new traditions, old traditions, my boundaries, self-care, self-love, expectations of myself, not allowing other people's expectations to fall on my back. That's a biggie that we all endure no matter what. And really recognizing that the stages of grief are really not stages. They're kind of all blended and swirled, and it's like a roller coaster. And, so as far as what the boys have to say is that what I'm hearing is that we have to honor our own emotions, that there is no right or wrong way. There is no timeline. That's a linear thinking, and don't allow others to tell you what to think, say, or do.
Absolutely. Are there any traditions for you, Sara, and your family since Adam's passing?
Yes. I had gone to a reading just like within a couple of months after Adam's passing. So just to go in for like 20-minute readings, actually over by the Galleria, not too far from you. And one session, it was he came forward and said to use his boots that he had bought the day of his accident, that he was wearing when he passed, to use his boots as his Christmas stocking.
Oh.
Okay, so that's why you'll see in my group posts where I share his boots. He wore them for just a matter of hours.
Wow.
And I use those and fill those with his favorite foods, treats, trinkets, whatever. When his daughter was little, she would make art, or decorations or, a Christmas ornament or whatever to put in them. So that is one thing I always do now. That is this. It filled my heart so much in that first few years that I continue to do it, because in those first few years I still feared that he was going to move on in some way, and that then I realized now it's more of a blending, and I know you guys understand that. It's more of a blending that I know he's always with me, that there's not that separation. Okay, and so that with the boots is the two big one, and then I realized I didn't need to carry that same old traditions of I have to do everything and bring the family together. It's like those who want to come and share, fine. If not, we'll do it differently.
Yeah, because I find that very difficult because most of us moms, we're the glue of the family. And more often than not, we're the ones that suffer the loss so much more than almost everybody. And so it's hard to keep everything together, basically.
But I realize this younger generation, they want some of the traditions, but they don't want the same exact thing, because maybe they did, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I realized, and I do, when my mom passed, she passed when I was 9 months pregnant with Adam. And then I always tried to be the glue, trying to keep everyone together for the holidays after that. And then I realized it's not my job. I can't beg them to come or to bring food or whatever. I realized I need to step into my own power and go, this should be a joyous occasion, with emotions, of course, but to bring everyone together, and whether we want to have lasagna that day or turkey or whatever,
That's right.
So I learned to be, the grief has taught me to be more open to newness and create new paths and not have to have it a same way, because the unknown is scary. We know that, and it's scary for everyone who's going through change. But I realized that I've made it this far. I'm always going to make it now.
Yeah.
I think, you get to that point. After you get to that top uphill of the roller coaster, right, Elisa? Where you know
Exactly.
you're going to make it through. Yeah, you're going to have dark moments, dark days, reminisce. Those old memories are always going to be with you, but it's okay to have new memories. And when I realized that in my quiet time, my self-care time is when I would connect with him. Even in the very beginning, I would connect with him. But I guess I wanted external validation from everyone, you know? And then that's working on myself. That I didn't need the external, that it was like, this is my relationship with him. It doesn't need to be, you know, validated by everyone, you know, whether you're talking about your relationship with God, Jesus, whomever, it's your relationship. Mm-hmm.
Okay. My big thing was, is it really okay for me to start wearing mascara again? I don't know. That sounds so trivial, but it sounds right.
Or to laugh. Right, you feel guilty.
Or to laugh.
I mean, I was raised.
Is it okay?
I was raised Catholic, so which is all guilt based, right? So you feel guilty about everything. Feel guilty about being happy one minute and crying the next minute. So the holidays do bring up. They're a natural trigger because we all go back to wish it was like. No different is when we get older and we look at our kids after they're grown and go, oh my gosh, I wish they were young babies again. But you go through all of this. Yeah, it's kind of like a in-life review when you're going through grief.
Oh.
It's like an in-life review. That's the way I see it.
I love that.
I have to put it in perspective. And journaling really helped me. Using journaling, I went through several notebooks in that first couple of years of just writing and writing, and that's how I did the automatic writing with Adam. And then it opened me up, you know, staying focused by writing.
I'm sorry, is that the first form of communication you had with him?
Mm-hmm. Well, I used the pendulum for yes, no.
Okay.
And then it went into automatic writing because my Reiki master that I did courses through, she was a channeler, and that's how she did it. So therefore, of course, I learned from her.
Yeah.
Was that she did automatic writing. Not that I couldn't converse, but sometimes when you're writing, keeping your hand, the flow, the energy moving, it would be more fluid.
Exactly.
But for me, it's almost easier to connect straight to spirit versus having another person, you know, that you're connecting as, you know, mediumship with.
Oh my God.
So dealing with the other energy. So, in the pendulum, in the quiet time, and working through your emotions, you know, and I do know to share with everyone, and I know you all agree, is that when you're heavy in grief, when you're in these outbursts or your emotions are all over the place, it's because you're feeling them, you're feeling their energy, and that brings up everything.
Oh my God,
you're feeling it.
So true. So Adam, what is your Christmas wish? And then Erik, you're gonna be next. We have one other. What do you want besides coal in your stocking, your boot? What would you like, Adam, for Christmas?
I'm going to ask him. He goes peas on earth, PEAS. So he's going to be really funny. He's going to be funny just like Erik. He said if there was a deeper understanding, if there were more light workers that would open up about their teachings of communication with the afterlife, there would be less stress and less residual heavy energies on the planet. If they had a deeper and expanded view of how the universe truly works, that we are so much more. He goes, if we go back to the basics even of Jesus' teachings, and this is all about teaching us about the afterlife, you know, about the kingdom of heaven. That's what he was here to teach us, was about the afterlife.
That's right.
And he goes, we just all got to get back to basics, not about who said, he said, she said, who's not, who's lying, who's whatever.
Absolutely, Adam, you're so wise.
Because the heaviness of the planet creates the heaviness in your heart.
Exactly.
It takes each one of us to lift our hearts, to lift others. If we don't lift our own heart, how can we expect another to lift yours? So it's our own doing on a mass level, that there is different levels of dimensions that we can all reside in. A feel better one is what you strive for, to feel better.
Exactly.
Feel better in your thoughts.
So, Erik, what do you want for Christmas? And Adam, does he deserve it? I'm kidding. Of course he deserves it.
Yes, he does. Eric's showing me, he's singing it because he's showing me this old commercial that they used to have for like AT&T and Bell and all of that. It's like reach out and touch someone. This is what he's saying. Like, this is what he wants for Christmas. Reach out and touch someone.
I know what he's doing. My ex brother-in-law, my father was such a fun crusher that anytime he would have his horrible antics, we would all sing, and he would sing, reach out and crush someone, Jose. So that comes from that, I know. All right, so
that's a good one.
Well, but he says, he goes, okay, but he goes, so what he really wants for everyone is, he says, like, really reach out and communicate, because he says when we go through things like, you know, grief at the holidays, and, you know, we go through these experiences, there's this expectation that comes from others, yes, and that we put on ourselves, smile on my face, and I'm going to walk through this whole experience, and I'm just going to do it for everybody else, and I'm not going to let anybody know how I feel. And he says it's okay to be vulnerable and to reach out and connect, and connect with others, and tell them how you feel, and tell them that maybe you need a little extra time, and maybe you need that extra hug. And, you know, he says that the communication is to say, this is where I'm at, and maybe I'm having a hard time, and I need a little help right now. And he says, and being okay with that, and being okay with not putting everything on our own shoulders. And he also adds, too, is to be okay with, you know, to say with, now that we're getting back to gathering together and everything, he says, maybe it's a little overwhelming for you, and be okay with saying, I'd love to do that, but can I get back to you and let you know? Can I, you know, when do you need to know by? And allow yourself to kind of go with that flow.
Instead of jumping to yes, which is what I do. Oh, okay. Oh, of course, you know, and then I get burnt out like I am now.
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
and also having like a backup plan. So even if you say yes, just say, but, you know, I might only stay an hour. So that way you have a way out.
Oh, excellent.
So you're not overwhelmed with anxiety before you go. Yeah, I might only stay an hour. So have a plan with, you know, with driving or whatever. And so you're not setting yourself up, you know, in case you have a trigger.
Eric says, you know, you don't have to explain to everybody everything that's going on within you either. He says, so it's okay, like just adding what Sarah just said, he says, you know, it's okay to make those, give yourself an out. It's okay to allow that. He says, because you're the only one that can do that for you. So be your own best friend and create those for yourself. Yeah.
Right, and that's maybe part of your self-empowerment too. Isn't that a lot? Yeah. You know, because everyone's going to, if you start telling everybody your reasoning, you're going to hear everyone's opinions.
That's right.
Who wants that?
That's right. That's right.
You don't need that.
Yeah, exactly. And don't you think that that's what's going on around, that's kind of like going to be this running theme, is that we don't have to give a full excuse. We can just know is the whole sentence. That's
right.
it.
Ooh. That's right. And
I think that's going to be the running theme.
You know, that's
really
important for me to hear, because I always have to justify why I wanted to say no to something, because I don't want to hurt their feelings, and it better be a freaking good excuse, because I don't want to hurt them. It's very difficult. So just honoring your own self-empowerment, saying no.
Say no.
Oh, well, why? Well, because like kids do.
They don't need to know.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't need to know. And we were raised to always have an excuse. Why the teacher, why you didn't have your homework, or why whatever.
Yeah.
You know, why you didn't do the dishes. We always had to come up with something. Or me being raised a Catholic, you got to come up with something for confession.
Oh, boy.
I stole my brother's piece of gum, whatever it was. But
that's so funny.
So I think it's really, this is where the planet is going. We don't have to. Why is it anyone's business anyway?
That's exactly right.
It's really not.
Yeah.
So if we can learn that through the grief,
Yeah.
So what's
no matter
changing?
what, because
we're just changing from contrast consciousness, you know, survival of the fittest, polarity to like cooperation and unity? Like, is it that, or why don't we need to explain ourselves anymore?
Well, I think it's all of the above, but I think it's all of us that we don't need to like blabber on about what our reasoning is behind to justify it to anyone else.
Well, they're probably
it's
not
really
listening
just about
anyway.
our own empowerment.
They're
Erik
probably
is
not
also
listening
saying
anyway.
Erik is just saying that it's also, he says, Mom, we're going from being directed from the outside, so out-directed to self-directed. And he says, and that has to do with our shift in consciousness and how important it is that we are aligning with what we truly feel inside ourselves, because that's the path to how we experience being a sovereign being here on earth, that we don't just follow blindly to what we're being told from outside of us, that we really take the time to go within ourselves and follow what our own self-direction is. And I'll just add something that Erik taught me from the very beginning, which is really important, is he says, nobody, Michelle, will ever know you as well as you know yourself.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who is saying what to you, and to get to know yourself as deeply as possible will always, always be the very best thing for you, and it will always be there for you.
Mm-hmm. Right, because everyone else's stuff is a projection, how they think you should be grieving or what you should be doing.
That's right.
Or how many people, I'm saying the older generation would say, well, just stay busy, and that way you don't think about it. That's
or remember you have other children.
It's just numbing it.
Yeah,
right. You got other children. Oh, you need to be strong. Strong for who?
Oh, God. You need to get over it.
They would want you to be strong. I don't think so.
No.
Yeah. Right.
No.
Not at all.
So to honor your feelings, if you feel like skipping over a holiday, you skip over the holiday. Doesn't mean you won't halfway through it decide you want to do something to celebrate for 20 minutes and then forget the rest of the day. It's more about figuring out what helps that person. In like Adam's saying, even like the silly Hallmark movies like that my mom likes that it's because
I do too.
Yeah, and I haven't really got to watch a lot this year, but I know they really, really helped me during grieving times, because it was like I knew they were safe. There was not going to be any violence. There wasn't going to be any trauma involved. They were safe. It was always a happy ending. You already kind of knew what was going to happen. So
and they all have
just
a dead mother or a dead father or a dead sister or a dead brother, so they're going through their grief anyway. So listen,
ice skating and a pet. You're right.
Exactly.
So you're going to relate to it, but there's no trauma involved in it that's going to like shake you up like watching an intense movie. Right.
Love it.
And recognizing that.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Pardon?
And
not being afraid to talk about your loved ones, your person or persons during the holidays.
Person.
Don't be afraid. Maybe you're the one needs. A lot of times, people around us, even family members, they don't know how to handle it, and so they're better off not saying anything. You got the ones who stick their foot in their mouth, and the others who don't say a darn thing. And so,
we always have Eric's picture at the table at his place. Well, one other a person in spirit, I want to ask what he wants for Christmas, and I will start with a little backstory. As a chief resident in internal medicine in UTMB Galveston, I had this one young man. He must have been, I'm going to say 13. He was a young kid, and very, very. He had acute myeloid leukemia and myelocytic leukemia, and he was a very difficult, rude, misbehaving boy, but for obvious reasons, obviously. And I was the only one that he seemed to get along with. And so the head of the hematology department, paired me up with him. And he only wanted me to do his intrathecal chemotherapy, like doing his lumbar puncture and putting the chemotherapy in his in the cerebrospinal fluid. And we got along so well. And so I dreamt about him last night, and I dreamt about him being together with Jacob Manolo, and so who died of the same disease. And I just wanted to ask Jacob, have you been in touch with my dear patient? I can't remember his name. Oh, it's been too many years. And what do you want for Christmas?
Oh, yes. He says that this is friendship. They have a friendship, and for you was a friendship. There was there was another life connection there as well. Mm-hmm. But
for kinship.
There was something very energetic that was coming off of you that this child could sense and feel, and there was a lot of trust there for you, and that was created in another lifetime as well.
Interesting.
I'll tell you, Jacob just says what he wants for Christmas is for his family not only to feel his love, but know that there is no greater goal in life but to love. And his life was an absolute success because he both loved and felt love.
Yeah. That's just like Erik's grave marker says, he loved deeply and was deeply loved. And I think that would be very appropriate to Jacob as well.
Yeah, I heard that a kinship that you one of the past lives I see with you with some of the patients, like this one you're talking about, the deceased, is that you were practicing medicine back in the day, where I see like, oh my gosh, this looks like it's the room has like wood floorboards. So and you kept it. You were understanding that you were trying different methods to understanding blood, learning blood.
Oh,
and
okay.
So this is, I'm going to say, probably in the past 100 years or so, and that you tried experimental methods.
And now I'm doing that again. Well, we're not doing
experimental
anymore,
methods.
though.
No leeches. Experimental methods, and that you practiced, and you were honest with them, but you held their hands and you shared the love and kindness that they so wanted, where there was no hope anywhere else. You gave them hope, and you learned. Of course, that's the science of medicine. You learn from these cases and how to move forward. And learning about blood, like I see you with this microscope, this old microscope. It's really interesting.
That's cool. Yeah. So, Sara, Adam, what other advice can you give those in pain to make it through all the way through New Year's?
Yeah. Well, it's going to be for most people will be up and down. If you feel like you need to get away, then that's fine too. You don't have to stay at home. Usually our home is our safe space, but now, of course, if it brings up daunting memories, is to know that by delving into different teachings and understandings, what is your safe space include? Is this meaning going to a service of some sort and honoring that person? For me, it was, I know when I did go to church, I'll be honest, a non-denominational church for about a year and a half after Adam passed, but I felt safe and I could feel him in the church. Because at home I was surrounded by sadness. At church, it was uplifting because everyone, you've got from the ministry, from the singing, from just the energy of all the people.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
It's like my body would vibrate and I could feel them. I could feel them touching my hair. I could feel just feel the energy. And so I looked forward to going, but I knew it was because I needed to learn to quiet my mind and focus, be able to focus.
Right.
I couldn't it took a long time at home to do that because things would pop up, but I know I needed those things to pop up, as we all know, like walking in the room and seeing this or that, and it takes you back to a memory. Yeah. You still have to confront that, work through it, but in your own timing.
Exactly.
So figuring out what is best for you, whether this is going in the bathroom and screaming, or if this is going outside and being in nature for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
What really also helped me was writing letters to Adam.
Oh.
Just writing letters, pouring your heart out, venting. If you're in an angry stage of your grief, vent.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to vent to God, the universe, if you want to vent to your loved one because you're mad at them, that's a normal process. So there is no right or wrong, and so don't let anyone else tell you, because this is between you and your loved one. And so I would say try not to numb yourself, meaning alcohol is a depressant for me.
Yeah.
It upsets my stomach too, thankfully. Yeah. And for me, writing to him and feeling his energy, I knew was uplifting for me, but I had to do it in my private way until I could get my sea legs, I want to say, and felt them underneath me, which took a lot of time. That first year and that second year of the holidays was good and bad. It was good and bad. And all of our birthdays, anniversaries, Adam's death anniversary, all of our whole family, all the dates are within a 7-week period.
Wow.
So it's kind of hard from, mid-November to mid-January. It's all right there. And so but I do know that now that I can communicate with him more fully, I know that he's in my energy, or I'm in his energy. We're all together, this mass, right? It's not separate. But where I don't feel that tug. And what he's talking about is social media. A lot of people go to social media, and sometimes that can bring you down, because you see how other friends and family and other people are living their best life.
Oh, yeah.
And especially around the holidays. So pay attention to what you're bringing in. He said, pay attention to what you're bringing into your energy field.
Oh,
pay attention.
Good advice. As a general rule, a lot of people want to know what year does it start to get better? And of course, there's no rhyme or reason. It's different, but can you generalize it all, Sarah and Adam and Erik?
I just heard him say 3, but for me, I think it's once I got to the second angel anniversary, my goal was to be able to hear him at my second angel anniversary, to hear him fully.
Wow. Yeah.
But to feel good, not like one day I feel him and then a week later I don't, because of my own energy dropping, you know. So, but I heard 2.5 to 3. It's because we're creating new patterns of thought and feeling, new ways of doing things, so we don't keep falling back. Well, this is how we used to do it. But he says you have to be proactive in a way. Now, forcing yourself.
New wiring in the neurological
system. New
system.
wiring.
Yeah.
Yeah, new wiring.
All right, can we talk about...
Because you'll never forget. Yeah.
Oh, no, never forget, of course. Can we talk about men? You know, they're often the invisible grievers. And, women, I mean, like, I can only speak to me. My husband was just a rock. And it's like, but I know he felt. I mean, I know he did. And sometimes I had to stop and say, to my husband, how are you doing? How are you feeling? And of course I did it to the kids too. But can you talk, Erik and Adam and Sara, about how to handle fathers, brothers, etc., friends during the holidays to help them?
You want me to answer? Michelle, you want to chime in, and then I will?
Yeah, well, Erik is just saying that, so he's just speaking to men at first, and he says, many men are biologically wired to protect or to, to uphold. And he says, so when crisis occurs, it's like that, when we talk about the nurturing, so, gender doesn't really matter. He says we can have either or and all of the above, but speaking in the terms of like nurture and protection, they're heightened in the male, just like the female is heightened with nurturing. He says the male gets heightened with protection. So when there's crisis, that's the mode that is taken. Goes into this protection. I'm going to handle this. I'm going to take care of this. And he says sometimes the one thing that can happen is, he says, there can be this not wanting to surrender. Like, if I let go, then everything's going to break apart. He says it's like this: I need to hold the ship and steer the ship and keep everything under control, because if I let go, then we're going to sink. We're going to fall under. And so he says the best thing is to remind, whether this is anybody in your life that is holding things together for the family or feels they need to do that, is to give them opportunity to be able to take the back seat. If you're able to step up and take care of something for them, to show them that you're okay in doing that, because he says a lot of times when we don't realize it, he says subconsciously we take positions with our family, with our friends, and we just kind of fit where things, or we just kind of go where things fit, rather, he says. So it's like really paying attention to, what needs do I have and how am I getting them met, and then asking what needs do they have. And if they're not saying, maybe what do you observe that you can help with or take over, to give them a chance to be able to loosen the grip a little bit and have a moment to take care of themselves as well.
Can we get a message from Adam for his father? Erik for your father, my husband, in case you didn't know, and also Jacob for your father, during this time of the holidays, that will help them. Maybe starting with Adam.
Yeah. Well, Adam already said, he goes, my dad's going to toast him. We know that. But he's talking about how this feeling the vulnerability that we talked about earlier, this is where his dad is growing, and this is where he's very proud of his father and how he is growing in vulnerability, meaning it's okay to share your emotions and your grieving heart, but to share, you're in a place now, in our lives that my husband, he understands that there is more, that, this was Adam's journey, so that he can continue. And so he knows, and Adam is very proud of him because he knows that, Larry recognizes when he feels Adam with him or giving him guidance and understanding.
That's amazing.
So he's in a place which, whether he's working on a motor, on a race motor, whatever it is, or a building or whatever, that he can feel the guidance. He might not share it with his friends so much, but now all his friends get messages and signs from Adam. But because of that's the male energy of him, that he doesn't want everyone else to think he's strange or not or whatever for the validation. But of course. That this was part of his, his dad's journey was to open up his heart, and to feel his emotions and to grieve the loss of a child, and to know that there is more to life than just what we see. There is more to life than what we see, and that there's always another day, and that another day to open up and to be generous, because everyone, he said that his dad is recognizing that everyone has pain and suffering in their lives. Yeah. And once you understand that, you can be more compassionate towards others. You can understand that everyone has something behind closed doors. Oh, yeah. And that the universe will bring those right people in your path, that maybe that you can help, that you can counsel or give advice to. So the message really is for his dad is that he's very proud of him and how far he's come in his grief. Awesome. We should toast Larry. Absolutely. Yeah, toast Larry. We'll toast him. Fireball. Yeah, we go. Ugh, gross. All right. Then next, Erik, a message to help your father get through the holidays, and then Jacob for his daddy.
Erik is just, he started talking about, he says that he always was so wanted to be like Papa. Oh, God, yes. Papa's so strong. Yes. And so smart. And Erik admires that so much in him. And so he just says that it's okay to show that there's some fear or that fear of change. He says everything in moderation, meaning that if you let loose, if you let that strength kind of open up, he says everything in moderation is going to be okay. He says there's a balance. There's a balance that we can have, that we don't have to hold on so hard. Yeah. And he's just saying that that Papa is actually he's come a long way, and he says that that in fact in the last couple of years he's connected with some parts of himself that really he hadn't ever before, and he says in this next coming 2 years even more for him to experience. But he's just saying that feeling fear is necessary to feel love. Acknowledging fear is that way to scale love. So he just wants Papa to know he's very proud of him. He's very proud of him. And he loves him very much.
I know. He's an awesome guy. All right, Jacob, what about for your dad? To get him through, because I mean, I'm dealing with some. Erik was much longer ago, and then Adam, and then now Jacob, more recent. So I wanted to share these 3 examples to help people across the spectrum. So Jacob, how can you help your dad?
He says that this year in particular, he's just saying because there's so much new for him, for our family. He says that the most important thing for this year is to really focus on the flow or the cycles of how you feel. And he says that, for his dad, he's saying for him to engage in anything that helps him to feel good. And he's actually showing me, if you can sit down and watch a funny movie, if you can do anything to help lift yourself up a little bit, he says that's going to help you ride out this period of time. He's just acknowledging that there's going to be a lot of firsts that he's going to experience that he's already experienced.
Yeah.
And he says, and it's okay. It's okay to feel those firsts, and it's okay to whether he's ever going to feel normal again. My family's going to doubt whether they're ever going to feel good again. And so he's just saying that it's going to take time. But he says this year in particular is a year that if being at home is hard, go out to eat.
Yeah.
Go take yourself somewhere out to eat. Look at, he says, different scenery. Look at something, because Jacob says, whether you are doing the same things that we've always done or doing something different, I'm with you in all places.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jacob's
and I'd like to add too about with men or whatever. Our family members, our immediate family members, when a person exits the matrix, it's more or less that everything has to reconfigure. We're out to find a different placement in our family, and so everyone's on a different page. It's like we're all rubbing up against each other in different places. So the one thing that maybe didn't irritate you before is now going to irritate you. So that's where the extra love comes in, and just understanding that we're never on the same page in the family. We're just never on the same page. So we all kind of bounce off each other.
It's like a game of Jenga. You take one piece
and
out.
It can feel like that. And, one can feel left out. So, like, say, with me, my daughter felt left out because no one was asking about her like they were asking about how I was doing. It's just little things like that. Or things that her emotions and feelings of her childhood were coming up. And she was being brutally honest about things that I maybe needed to look at and not realizing. So it brings up everything. So it's really almost like you got to have a come to Jesus talk with each other too when you're ready.
But
true. It doesn't, and that's why there's a lot of breakups when you go through grief in the families because it's very difficult. So don't hesitate getting, therapy, counseling, life coach or spiritual grief counseling, whatever it is, get help, because especially the male, because they have to sort through maybe emotions of their whole childhood will come up, not just what has happened recent. So there's so many layers, and a lot of men, I don't want to say including some women, they don't want to look at their emotions. They'd rather put them under the rug like we were taught growing up.
Nothing to see
suck
here.
it up.
Move along.
But that's what's going to bring more peace on earth if we all work through our stuff and bring more peace within. And that's what's going to bring the peace on earth. It's not outside us, it's within us first, like we talked about earlier. But with men, it feels like, I've worked with a lot of men, a lot of male clients, and kudos to all of them for wanting to look at their emotions and be a part of it and understand that they can look at their patterns, in their life. And so, and then work through and forgiveness. We didn't even talk about forgiveness. That's a huge chunk of this grief journey.
Right.
Forgiveness,
it's
just deep.
Yeah.
It's deep.
That's a whole nother show. So
it is a whole nother show.
I would love to start taking callers, but I have a couple of questions. I have a client that I've done some Atlantic Scalar work on, Kristen Birkerud from Norway, and she just sent me her singing this Christmas song, and I swear to God, she sounds like an angel. And I'm wondering if Erik nudged her with this beautiful voice. I mean, it's like it's meant for something. And maybe it's part of the documentary. Maybe it's part of whatever.
Yeah.
Erik, did you nudge Kristen Birkerud our way?
He said he sure did.
Felt like it.
Yes.
And also one other, Giovanna Radlovic. Oh, let me see. Jovo has cancer, and he's starting chemotherapy. I'm just starting to do the microbiome and others. Is there anything else you want to know that can be done, or maybe it's a spiritual contract and he's not going to pull through? I don't know. Jovo Radlovic.
He just said it is a spiritual contract, but it doesn't mean it's a spiritual contract to end his life.
Okay.
So potential exit.
Yeah. Okay. So just the same thing like Erik is just saying to me, that was my potential exit if I were to take it when I was diagnosed. So he's saying like the same thing, because he says connecting with yourself, surrender the need to control the situation. And he says, but this is to keep going, to persevere, to do what you can to assist. But this is a process about going inside. Erik said this is the catalyst.
Does the daughter need to order any more scalar work? I mean, I don't think we did the cancer one on. I can't remember, but
not right now.
Not right
now. He says
work.
We can check back a little bit later, but he's just
saying
that.
Figured.
What's been done, that needs to kind of settle before anything else is done.
Excellent.
I'm also hearing journaling for Jovo, for journaling. Journal all those thoughts and emotions, because we have to expel them out of our body, because there's like in our journaling, and feels like he will he'll be amazed by some of his words that come through. So it's like almost like a release.
And this cancer is it's a emotional, energetically very emotional.
Okay.
It's what it's connected to.
And he could even something.
Yeah.
He could turn it into a personal blog at some point if he wanted to.
Oh,
that would be how he overcame it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love
it.
That's
amazing.
This is a teaching, leadership and teaching with this. Yeah.
Oh my God. His awakening. This is his awakening.
Yeah.
Well,
another layer to the awakening.
Helpful. That sounds very helpful.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go on to the first caller, 734 area code. Hi there. How you doing?
Hello.
Hey, thank you for being so patient.
Oh, thanks for taking my call.
Of course.
I don't know if this is something Erik can help with or not, but my son lost his dog, and he's just really upset about it.
Oh.
And I was wondering if Erik could give us any clues as to where to look at the dog. His name is CJ. He's a miniature pincher, I think, brown dog.
Oh, he's lost, not dead. Oh, God. Okay, good. Erik, can you Liz Cross would be good at mind probing him and figuring out how far away he's with the home. So, how far away is he from where he was lost, Erik or Adam? Both.
He's not far.
Yeah,
He's not far.
Are you getting that he got picked up?
Yes, but he's with somebody.
I heard that he got picked up.
Yeah. He's with somebody.
Ooh, Lisa, you could use a divining rod too for distance and everything. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've done it before.
Well,
So, wow. So, is he? Hopefully, does he have a microchip?
He does.
I heard that he was chipped. Okay.
And my oldest son was keeping him while my middle son went on vacation, and I think when the dog got out, he just tried to go back home, which is only like maybe 6 miles.
Oh.
And he was seen between the two locations a couple of times.
Check in with
the one lady's house.
Yeah, sorry.
He's gonna get him back. Because I can see his energy coming back. Now I can't be sure because Erik is not saying for sure if it's going to happen by Christmas time, but there's going to be some information or something around Christmas time. And there's always a chance he could come back, but make sure that you put whatever information that you can in more than one place on the internet.
Post it everywhere.
Yeah,
post everywhere.
Everywhere. It's got to be seen because who has him, I feel, is not like looking everywhere. Like is not. So just put things out because there's going to be somebody else that's going to see the dog and then tell them, oh, this dog I saw on a. So I don't know if it's an older person that has the dog and they're just not.
That's what I was getting. Like was an older person.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just so happy that he's hopefully inside and warm because it's really getting cold here.
I know.
Yeah, he's okay. He's
Erik and Adam, Erik and Adam, y'all take care of that puppy, okay?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, and I wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and
to you.
Great New Year.
Yeah,
hopefully
you
it'll
too.
be a better New Year.
Yeah,
I'm hoping
Thank you so much.
Let us know what happens. Love you.
I will.
Oh, that sounds so hopeful. What a wonderful Christmas present that would be. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I think it's because of the holidays. That's where there's the communication during the holidays.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, 513 area code. I think this is probably going to be the last call. How can I help you? Oh, they dropped. Okay, they didn't want to talk. All right, 630 area code. Hi there. How you doing? Are you there? 30 area code. No. Okay. 515 area code. Going once, going twice. Hi there.
Hello. How are you?
Fine. How are you doing?
Great.
So we got here.
I wish everybody happy holidays.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I was just really enjoying listening to the show. I'm surprised you took callers because, all your lives are so interesting.
Oh.
So I guess I was just like, to hear something good for the holidays.
What a nice. That's awesome. I love that question.
Oh. All right.
Eric, Adam, who wants to go?
Yeah. What are you getting, Michelle?
Well, Eric's just saying, he says, this is the time of year for you. Anything in this past year, or anything that you felt that you've had regrets at or anything, he goes, this is a great time to let it go, because anything that you've experienced that's given you that contrast in life, he says, is going to give you gifts in this next year. So he's just saying to keep going. He goes, keep going down that road for what you want, because you're going to get what it is that you're looking for. And so I don't know if there's something you're working towards, or you will be working towards, but he's showing like having physical examples, or like it coming into the physical for you.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you very much. That was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's what I got was things will be flipping into more of a yes projection, and to be open to the new path. So you're a quick manifester, and just to be looking for those synchronicities and those signs, that you're on the right path of thought, and that you're going to notice it. And that makes it fun.
Days. I've just been seeing 222, 333, 444, 555.
Oh, perfect. Because I am a number freak. Yes.
Oh my God.
I know that means that you are in your flow. Like you're in a zone. Think of a professional ball player. When they're playing their great game, they're in their flow. You're in your flow when you notice those synchronicities and signs. You're in your flow. Definitely. You're in your right mindset. Okay.
Awesome.
That'll take that going. You'll know when you're not seeing it. You're off. That you're just off track a little bit.
I kind of stopped having expectations.
That's so cool.
Pardon?
What was that?
I stopped having expectations and just started going with the flow.
There we go.
Stop having expectations. Yeah, that's right. Expectations.
A dense energy to get through.
Sure enough. Well, good for you. I'm excited for you.
I'm excited too.
That's awesome.
All right, so Sarah, you have so much to offer, you and your boy, Adam. How can people get in touch with you, and how can you help them?
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so my Facebook group, it's a private group. It's Doing Grief Differently with Adam and Sarah.
I love that.
And I keep it more of an uplifting group,
yes.
Where I channel Adam and I channel, celebrities or recently passed, just famous people that come through. And I do just different intuitive games to help others to open up more. You can reach me at my website, sarakujuwa.com, and you can send me an email through there to reach out to me. And I do mediumship, psychic readings, past lives, Reiki energy healing. I do a little bit of everything, a la carte. So that's how you can reach out to me.
We should have regular sessions, girl. If you ever,
it'll be fun. Yeah,
it'll be fun.
I'm busy, but
if you want to do that,
we have some fun ones. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right, and Lori Manolo, that would be a really good group for you to join. So please do that if you're still listening. All right, I love you all. Please have a wonderful holiday. I'm going to take a little break in a little while. And, I hope you guys have the most love-filled holiday ever. And we will not have a radio show next Tuesday because I will be camping in the cold. All right, love you guys. And Michelle at thehealing-art.com. Excuse me, it's always in the description box, though. I love you, Adam and Sarah and Michelle and Eric.
Love you. Eric says, love you, Mama.
Love you, everyone.
Love you, Sarah.
Thank
love
you.
Lisa.
Happy holidays.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye,
See you all
everybody.
next year.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.